They just died. My life is going great. I'm so happy with what's going on at the moment.
Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about pancakes. And you might be asking, Shelby, what does a breakfast food have to do with filmmaking? And I'm about to tell you. So if you scroll back far enough on my channel, you'll eventually come across Behind the Bow, which is a documentary that I made for my film class about my sister's cheer team. But a lot of people don't know that my very first short film was actually a heartwarming comedy called Pancakes, and it was a train wreck. So whether you're a filmmaker or someone who just wants to know how I messed up in high school, then this video is for you, and I hope that you can take something out of it. Most of what went wrong with Pancakes can be boiled down into 3 categories. The first being problems with my directing, the second being problems with the set and planning, and the third, problems stemming from the fact that I never actually learned how to make a film. So the first of the directing problems is that I enlisted help, but I didn't use it in the right way. I had my friends Sam, Liz, and Maya all helping me out behind and in front of the camera every step of the way, but I didn't really give them much stuff to do. I wanted to do it all myself, and eventually through the years I've had to learn that you need other people in order to make your film work. If I could go back and change something, I would have planned out their jobs ahead of time, or would have maybe just used 1 or 2 of them to avoid too many cooks in the kitchen. Literally. The next problem involves casting. I used middle school aged kids instead of actual people with acting experience. And you might be saying, Shelby, you just made Happy Campers. Your boyfriend wasn't an actor? Yes, I know, he's also an adult, not an 11-year-old. And middle school girls, especially those who are best friends, are notoriously hard to wrangle. It wasn't even really their fault that they were going crazy though, because as a director, I didn't even know what I wanted the film to look like. So that made it kind of hard for me to communicate my vision. I should have gotten the answers to those questions ahead of time and thought through. I let my emotions get the better of me a lot, and I didn't even finish the original ending of the film because I got so frustrated with how things were going. That also led to me not letting actors improv. It would have saved us a lot of takes and a lot of time had I just let them say the dialogue that sounded normal and sounded natural instead of literally having to read it off of a whiteboard, which is what ended up happening. Now moving on to set problems. Hair and makeup was a nightmare, and we didn't even really need it. It also didn't help that my friend Liz was super enthusiastic about it. I love you, Liz. You're amazing. I don't know how you do it. We could have saved ourselves a lot of time if we would have just completely nixed it. The set dressing needed for this film was also crazy complicated, and we spent hours making the pancakes and making the pancake stand and messing up my mom's kitchen for all those first opening shots. If I would have gone with a simpler premise, I probably would have saved myself a lot of stress and a lot of fights with my mom. Along those lines, I also paid the stupid tax.
We're gonna reshoot some scenes today that we kind of botched last time just a little bit.
So in these scenes that you're seeing right now, I didn't properly check that the camera was on and the sound was recording and the mic was plugged in and all that. So we lost a whole day of filming due to the fact that the camera's audio sounded like this. Yes, it's beautiful, I know. Now moving on to the cinematography problems and problems coming from the fact I didn't really know how to make a film. I had too much equipment for literally no reason. There was a 3-piece lighting kit, which we had enough light from the windows, so it didn't really make a difference. We had an external audio recorder that recorded worse than my mic did, which is interesting. And we had a clapperboard that was just a pain to update at every shot, so eventually we just stopped editing it. And I would have been fine with just my camera, my tripod, and my mic, but all of this other complicated stuff got in the way, and I didn't even really need it. I also didn't bother to learn basic film principles, such as framing and composition, the 180-degree rule, or continuity. So with framing, let's look at this shot, for example. Imagine there's a grid over it. One actor should be on this line and one actor on this line. But instead, they're kind of weirdly in their own boxes, leaving all this empty space in the middle, which looks awkward in the film. I also broke the 180-degree rule a lot. This scene at the end takes the 180-degree rule and throws it out the window for no good reason. According to the 180-degree rule, I should not be able to cross this invisible line in order to make the cuts less disorienting. Whoops, but I did, and I did it again. Now with continuity, these shots are at the same angle, but we keep jumping from one to another, which can be really jarring as actors move around a lot. A good example of continuity, though, would be this shot. The actresses are in the same spot at the beginning of this shot and the end of the one before it. However, Pancakes has less of these good moments and more of those jarring jump cuts. All of these points can be boiled down to two main things. The first being that the premise was too complicated to make work with the skills and supplies that I had at the time. Now, as a film student, I probably would have been able to knock this film out of the park, but as a 15-year-old, not so much. I wanted the experience of making a film more than I actually wanted to make the film. I wanted the lights and the makeup and the crew and the extras and the casting, and sort of ignored the concept that I came up with in the first place, which should have been my focus. I expected way too much of this film, and I wanted it to be on par with all the ones that I'd seen on YouTube, and ultimately all that got me was disappointed. Which leads me to my second and my biggest problem. I never finished editing it. At the end of the day, I did film an entire short film when I was only a sophomore in high school, and that's something that I should be proud of. So I'm encouraging you to push through and finish something. Even if it's not that good, do it anyway. You'll still get the experience, and as the saying goes in the writing community, you can't edit a blank page. So I guess what I'm trying to say is almost 4 years later, this is Pancakes.
More vanilla, please, Cora.
You got it, Ruby.
Do you think your mom let you stay over another night?
My mom, she's probably glad to get rid of me. It's your mom we have to convince.
Yeah, I don't think my mom can handle another night of two middle school girls running around 2 hours of sleep in a bucket of Easter candy.
And hot cocoa. Lots and lots of hot cocoa.
Oops.
It's okay, just even it out.
Even it out? How are we going to eat all these?
And what is your mom gonna say when she sees that we use all her ingredients?
Wait, I have an idea. We did good.
This is a crazy idea. Are you sure it's gonna work?
Too late to stop now.
This isn't working. We've only made $1.
Wait, there's someone coming.
I'm Tristan Logan from the HOA, and
No offense, but aren't you a little young to be in the homeowners association?
I'm a junior member, thank you. In the HOA, we have a clear rule banning of any semi-permanent structure from soliciting in the neighborhood. Tear it down, or I'll fine you. Have a nice day.
What now?
I have an idea.
You're crazy.
I know.
This is not gonna work.
Yes, it is. I know it will. Hey, look, it's Mr. HOA rookie.
See, you've attempted to get around yet another rule.
Well, since we're following all the rules, would you like some pancakes?
Fine, I guess it's for the hungry after all. These are actually quite edible. I'll look into putting you as a very, very small, very little business.
Hey guys, Editing Shelby here. I want to make this short because I know this video is already super long, but I wanted to say a massive thank you to my parents, Liz, Maya, Sam, and all of my actors and my extras. This film couldn't have been made without you. I just want to put a disclaimer out there that these are all things that went wrong for me personally. I'm definitely still not an expert on filmmaking, and I have a lot to learn. So some things that didn't work for me will work for you, and that is completely fine. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!